Hello everyone and welcome to the video. Today we got news about a new upcoming selection pack in Yu-Gi-Oh! Master Duel, and I'm gonna go over everything you need to know about it. So the first thing you're gonna notice is that Raizio is finally coming to Master Duel and we finally have someone to compete with Malice. Now one interesting thing is that X is gonna be limited to 2 on release immediately, which is very nice and I do like it because lowering the power level of some of these insanely powerful decks is a good idea. I wish they did that with Malice as well. Now I don't think we're gonna see any other limits or semi-limits on release, but we'll see, of course. Now we also receive potentially the new Speedroid Crystal Clear Wing support, which yeah, I mean at the very least we're seeing that the signature card is gonna be the Crystal Clear Wing over Synchro Dragon, which is obviously Speedroid support, right? So maybe we're gonna see the Speedroid support, maybe not. I'm gonna go over it, but I'm not sure if we're getting it. And we're finally getting the long-awaited 6 Samurai support, which I literally forgot about because this deck has been out for months and we haven't received the support. And we're also seeing 2 great cards coming to the game in the face of a Boaku and also the Mocharmi Meows, which is gonna be a very impactful card, and I'm gonna talk about that in a little bit. Now firstly, let's go over the 6 Samurai support because it's the most interesting one for me personally. So we're firstly getting the Shien, which allows you to add a 6 Samurai monster or Shien effect monster from deck or graveyard to hand when it's synchro summon, which is nice. Also it has a monster effect negation similarly to the other Shien, except that it's for monsters, and also it has the same protection effect like the other Shien. So this is gonna be a ridiculously good card for 6 Samurai, obviously. Now we're also receiving 2 other synchro monsters, one of which is the new legendary Lord 6 Samurai Inishi, and this card can be pretty good to just clear the field because you can banish any number of 6 Samurai monsters from the graveyard, then target that many monsters your opponent controls and return them to the hand. So this can be a nice tool to clear the field, especially going second. And also if this card sent to the graveyard, you can special summon one of your banished 6 Samurai monsters, which is a nice bonus. However, I do think that the other synchros are gonna be a little more impactful. We also have the new legendary Lord 6 Samurai Kizan, which is a pretty nice card that has a popping effect during the opponent's main phase. You can banish one 6 strike card from the graveyard, target one card on the field and destroy it. And also if you control 2 or more 6 Samurai monsters, you can bring it back to the field from the graveyard. This card is not bad to play as like 1 or 2 copies, but I still think that the Shiens are way better than it, simply because both of the Shiens allow you to negate either spells or traps or monsters, and they also have a nice protection tied to them. So for example, if you spam your field with a bunch of Shiens, you can just simply use the effect of one of them, then if the opponent tries to destroy one of the other ones, you can just redirect it to the one you already used the effect of, and yeah, I mean, it's a pretty great idea. It's just what 6 Samurais do, just spam a bunch of Shiens and that's it. Now also we have some main deck support. First of all, we have Anarchist Monk of the 6 Samurai. First of all, you can special summon this card from the hand if you control a 6 Samurai monster, which is very nice. And also it has 2 different effects. If this card sent from the field to the graveyard, you can add one 6 Samurai quick play spell from deck to hand, which is the new support that's coming out. And also a 6 Samurai monster that was synchro summon using this card gets the effect that the levels of all monsters your opponent controls are reduced by 1, which is actually very neat, especially against Raizio, because you can counter them in a way. We also have the Tactical Trainer of the 6 Samurai, which can be special summoned in the exact same way and has 2 different effects. If this card sent from the field to the graveyard, add one 6 strike card from the deck or graveyard to the hand, and also a 6 Samurai monster that was synchro summoned using that monster gains the effect that monsters your opponent controls lose 500 attack points, which is a nice neat bonus. Obviously it's really good because it's an extender and a searcher. We also have the new 6 strike quick play spell, the Double Assault, and this card has a couple of effects which is pretty interesting. So if you control 2 or more 6 Samurai monsters, you can use both of the effects, otherwise you can use only one of them. Special summon a 6 Samurai monster with 2000 or less attack from your hand or graveyard, or change one monster your opponent controls with 2000 or less attack to face down defense position, both of which are pretty nice effects. One is more disruption related, the other one is more extender related, but both of them seem nice. And also during the main phase, you can banish this card from the graveyard, then target one 6 Samurai monster and add it back to the hand from the graveyard. Overall, a pretty flexible card in general, it's definitely gonna see play. Finally, we have this 6 strike 6 tuple barrage trap card, which is very strong. If you control 3 or more 6 Samurai synchro monsters with different names, or if you have 6 Bushido counters, you can reduce the number by 1. You can destroy all cards your opponent controls. Now this is very good because you essentially have 3 good synchro monsters with different names, right? You can use the new support, or you can just reduce the number by having a lot of Bushido counters. Depending on the scenario, it can be good, and just a board wipe is insanely powerful. And if this set card is destroyed or banished by an opponent's effect, you can special summon one 6 Samurai monster or one Shien effect monster from the deck or extra deck. So this can be pretty great even if you don't get the first effect resolved, right? Now next up, let's talk about the new potential Speedroid support, or at least the Crystal Clear Wing over Synchro Dragon boss monster. So this card requires 2 tuners or 1 tuner synchro monster plus Clear Wing Synchro Dragon, and it must be synchro summon. You cannot use it in your Centurion deck. This card can simply negate anything and destroy it, and also if it destroys a monster, you gain a little bit of attack, and also if it leaves the field because of an opponent's effect, you can special summon one Clear Wing monster from the extra deck, so that can give you an extra interruption interruption, which is nice. Now the potential new Speedroid support that might come into the game would feature first of all Speedroid Wing Synchron, which is a new pendulum monster. Once per turn you can destroy this card and one level 2 wind pendulum monster in the other pendulum scale, and if you do specimen one clear Wing Synchro Dragon from the extra deck, this is also treated as a synchro summon. So this is very convenient and really powerful in general. Also for the rest of the turn, your cards in the pendulum zones cannot be destroyed by card effects, and also you cannot specimen anything but wind monsters, of course. And the monster effect is that if this card is added to your extra deck face up and you control 2 or more different types of wind synchro monsters, you can send one Speedroid Power Trap from deck to the graveyard. So this can be a pretty convenient foolish burial, good for the deck, of course. We also have the new Speedroid Colonel Clackers, which is another pendulum monster, a level 2. You can banish one Speedroid card from the graveyard, place one Speedroid pendulum monster from your deck in the pendulum zone. Also you cannot specimen except wind monsters, of course, and this is already giving you a way to set the other one, which is great. And the monster effects don't really matter as much because it's just a floater, or it increases the attack of your clear wing monster during the damage step a little bit. But the first effect is what makes this card very good. We're also gonna be receiving a new level 5 synchro monster, which is also a tuner, and this card allows you to bring back a level 7 or lower non-tuner wind monster from the grave. So you can literally use this card plus a level 7 and go for the level 12, which is insanely powerful. And if your opponent space summons a monster and you have a clear wing monster on the field, you can banish this card and increase the levels of all monsters your opponent controls by 5. So they're making this another way to counter Raizio like 6 Samurais, which is just so funny that they're releasing it in the same set. And we also have the new trap card as well, which is a pretty nice card too. Target cards your opponent controls up to the number of different monster types among the wing synchro monsters you control, destroy them. So this can go for either number between 1 or 2 or 3 depending on how many you have. And if your opponent space summons a monster, you can banish this card from the graveyard, target one wind synchro monster you control, banish it, then return it back to the field. So this can kind of counter some sort of interruption against your cards, or also you're gonna be able to just reset an effect, which is not bad too. And in general, this is pretty strong support, and I really hope we receive this support in the game. And as of the two staples, firstly let's go over the Abao Aku, the Lightless Shadow. This card is very convenient and useful. In general, this can be a nice popping effect at the very least during the main phase, which is a quick effect. And also you can manage this card, of course, to special summon a light or dark monster from the graveyard, which can sometimes be useful, but the first effect is at the very least gonna be 100% useful and good. And also we're receiving the third Mocharmy, which is actually the one I'm very excited about, because it essentially makes it so that whenever your opponent space summons from the banishment or graveyard, you will end up drawing a card, and that's a very good way to counter something like Malice, right? We finally have a convenient hand trap against Malice, and I'm sure this will lower the play rate of Malice a little bit, and this card is definitely gonna see play. Of course, it's also gonna be useful against a lot of decks, but I feel like this is gonna be a staple at the moment simply because Malice is such a big deal in the game. And the final thing we're gonna talk about is gonna be Raizio. I don't think you need introduction for this archetype or any sort of explanation, but what I wanna say is that finally we're gonna have a new competitor in the meta. This deck is most certainly gonna become tier 1, and I feel like the meta is gonna be basically Malice and Raizio tier 1. Whatever is next tier 2, like Blue Eyes or Princeman, maybe Memento, even though I don't think that Memento is gonna be that powerful simply because of the new Mocharmy as well. And the rest is basically gonna be tier 3. I feel like Raizio and Malice are gonna compete for the top spots because they're just one of the best decks you can play in general, not only in Master Duel. And you can expect Raizio to be a pretty impactful deck. It's a very standard level 4 rank 4 Xyz deck, and also the cool thing about it is that there are ways to slightly counter this with the new archetypes. So this is interesting. If people maybe decide to play a little bit more 6 Samurais, technically a deck like 6 Samurai can be pretty efficient as well, simply because it can disrupt Raizio just like that with a nice little neat effect. You're gonna be able to play the Mocharmies, which will end up disrupting the Malice decks. So maybe we're gonna see more of a diverse meta game, even though it seems like these decks are gonna be the best in general, simply because we have access to a lot of tools to counter both of the decks now. So yeah, I'm actually very excited about Master Duel, and I'm definitely gonna pull for these cards. I would suggest you also pull for these cards because they're gonna be very impactful cards in general. But yeah, let me know your opinion about the pack in the comments, whether you're gonna pull for it or not, whether you're excited about it or not, and I would love to hear more from you. Also check out more content in the channel if you want to do that. I will see you guys next time.